Josh Gates, you know the name. He's a well-known adventurer and explorer, host of the popular discovery show Expedition Unknown. Now, he was planning to take a trip and do a special episode on the same Titan sub that we've all been obsessing over for the last few days. He canceled the trip. Why? Josh joins us now. Thank you so much. Appreciate you taking this opportunity. Look, this is hard news to take for the families, no question about it. And this isn't about being inappropriate at the wrong time, but the whole question for these families is going to be why. What was your take on the risk to, the cost-benefit analysis?
Yeah, we went up to OceanGate headquarters in 2021 and worked alongside Stockton and took a ride in Titan, went down on a shakedown dive on the sub to put it through its paces. So this was just a few months before OceanGate was going to take its first season of passengers out to Titanic. And, I had a lot of really interesting experiences with Stockton. It was a thrilling experience. Titan was a really novel vehicle. But by the end of the trip, I really just came to the conclusion that this wasn't for me. And I'm not a guy who says no to dangerous things very easily. At the end of the day, the problem with Titan for me was that there is really nothing to benchmark it against. This is a vehicle that is a one-off. There is nothing else that has ever been built like Titan to go down to Titanic. It is unlike any other sub. Every other sub that goes down to these depths has a titanium or steel alloy pressure sphere. Titan was built using carbon fiber. It's a miraculous material. It's what we build next-generation airplanes out of, like the Dreamliner, the A350, and it can be 10 times stronger than steel. But it has to be engineered to really exacting specifications. And there are a lot of mysteries about how this material performs at incredible pressure and in terms of those pressure cycles and fatigue, and in terms of incredibly cold temperatures. And there just was no data here to measure against. So for me, it was like you couldn't even assess the risk.
Now, I don't have to tell you this because I watch your show, and this is the space that you've chosen to live in and show the rest of us. But isn't that how it's done? You want to try something that's never been done before, you have to try it. And there's risk.
Absolutely, right? I mean, I don't think you can begrudge. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think you can begrudge, first of all, anybody who chooses to take a trip like this. I totally reject the criticism that people would go down to Titanic. I think that Titanic holds great meaning for many people, certainly people like P.H. Nargeolet on board. Titanic was his life. He's one of the world's foremost experts on this wreck. And so whether it's climbing Everest, whether it's base jumping, whether it's going down to Titanic, if something holds great personal meaning for you, I think you should be celebrated for doing it. And as someone who has gone down to wrecks in submersibles, look, it takes a lot of courage, a lot of determination and bravery to do something like that aboard any submersible. So I think the people aboard Titan should certainly be given a lot of admiration for their courage. I will also say, though, to your question, look, risk is part of the game. I've heard a lot of people today talk about innovation and the leading edge of innovation and the Wright brothers and things like that. I totally agree. I think that huge risks are required when innovating, especially in incredibly difficult environments like this. But we also have to think about the fact that there are passengers aboard. These are members of the public. I know that they're called mission specialists, but look, some of them are, right? Nargeolet is certainly an expert, but we have a young man aboard this sub, a 19-year-old, and certainly a lot of the people who went aboard this sub were, I think, what you would call, members of the public, right? And so I think there is a difference there, and I think that we have to. It's a really hard moment, Chris, because my heart is absolutely broken, like everybody else. I knew Stockton Rush, as I said, also knew Hamish Harding aboard the sub, who's a fellow member of the Explorers Club. So it's just an incredible loss. But I think that alongside that loss, and maybe not today, but I think very soon, we have to ask some real questions about the design and development of Titan and about what choices were made to bring us here and whether those choices were ethical and reasonable.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.